This video will introduce you to the concept of bearings. There are two different types of bearings that we use when we're talking about providing someone with a form of direction to travel in. The first one is a compass bearing. Compass bearings use the idea of our north, east, south and west points. They're made up of three parts. The first part is how we are travelling in comparison to whether we're starting facing north or south. The next part is the number that we're going to travel. How many degrees away from north or away from the south that we're going to travel? And this number is not more than 90 degrees. And then the third part is the direction that we move, either going towards the east or towards the west. So here are some examples. If I'm going to travel north 55 degrees west, means I'm starting facing north, so I'm facing here, and I'm going to move 55 degrees towards west, which means I'm going to move 55 degrees in a westerly direction. So it means that I am going to head this way. And there's my 55 degrees. Another example is, let's say that we want to start looking south and we're going to move 20 degrees to the east this time. So it means I'm starting facing south and I'm going to move 20 degrees towards the east direction. And so I'm going to be moving from this point, looking south, moving 20 degrees east. And this gives us our direction of perhaps if we're a hiker, where we're going to walk, if we're a ship, in what direction we're going to sail. So a compass bearing made up of three elements. A true bearing takes in north as our starting point, north as 0 degrees. And it's simply that the direction we move clockwise, so we're going to move clockwise, and it's just taking in what degree of a whole circle we're going to move clockwise. So it's going to be 3 digits that we're going to use. So for example, I might say that we're going to move on a true bearing of 125 degrees, which means I start by facing north at 0, moving clockwise all the way around to 125. So I know when I get to this point it's 90, so I'm going to be moving a little bit further on. So let's call that point A. So I have just moved on a true bearing of 125 degrees. Another example might be that I want to move on a true bearing of 62 degrees, so 062 degrees, which means again I'm facing north and I'm going to move clockwise 62 degrees. So there's my 62 degrees, and which means I'll be travelling in this direction towards B. So there are two different types of bearings. Most of the time when we're talking about navigating or surveying, we talk about true bearings, and we're going to focus on these. So we're talking about how we're going to face north at 0 degrees and always move in a clockwise direction to measure the angle that we want to be directed towards. It's very important to know that when we're talking about a true bearing, that we're often talking about where we're starting and where we're going to go facing to. So we need to know where we're starting from. So in our first example, we've got O, the origin, and we're going to start from this point. Because that's our starting point, I have put in my north point. So wherever I'm starting to look from, I'm going to find my north point at 0 degrees. So I first want to find the true bearing of A from O. So I'm at O, facing north, so I want to go clockwise until I get to A. There I am. So if I'm facing and going to walk towards point A, I'm going to move on a bearing of 50 degrees. So using our 3 digits, 050. If I'm facing north from O, and I want to get to facing B, so I'm going to have to go from north in a clockwise direction all the way around until I'm in the direction of point B. So you can see I've travelled certainly past 90 degrees. I've travelled 50 plus an extra part. I haven't travelled all the way around to 180. I'm actually 40 less than that. So it's telling me I've got a bearing of 140 degrees. So B from O is 140. So point C from O means I'm starting from O. I'm going to move clockwise and I'm going to go all the way around. So very quickly here, I'm going to, just missing a little bit of information here. We're assuming that that's going to be 90 degrees because it's looking like it's pointing due west. So we're going to, it's pointing out to the west. So I'm going to say that from O, C is 270 degrees. So, or east. So now what we want to do is change that slightly. Imagine we are standing at point A. What bearing is O from A? So now I'm at point A. So what I need to do is drop in a north point, and that's my 0 degrees. So I want to find the bearing if I'm at A and I want to look towards O, which means I've got this massive bearing. How do I find it? Well, the lovely thing about putting in these north points is we've got two lovely, essentially parallel lines. So we've got the north points are acting as parallel lines. And what we know is we've got parallel lines. If we think about it, I'll draw an example to the right. We've got a transversal, which is our O to A, that the angles inside here are co-interior, so they add to 180. So if this one here is 50 degrees, then the other angle left over here is going to have to be 130 because they should add to 180, which then helps me find this bearing of O from A, because I know that 360 take 130 is going to leave me with a bearing of 230 degrees. So if I want to look at point O, if I'm standing at A, I'm going to face north and I'm going to go clockwise all the way around to 230 degrees. If we were standing at point B this time, I want to find O from point B. So I'm going to drop in a north point and I'm going to start at 0 and going clockwise. My bearing's going to be quite large all the way around. So what I need to do is really find what this leftover angle is here that I'm not using, and I can see that I can use these two as my parallel lines, my north point and the dotted line in the diagram, and see that 40 degrees is alternate to this leftover piece here, which would be 40. So from B, O is actually 320 degrees as a true bearing. And for our last one, O from C, so if we're standing at C, let's drop our north point in. Going clockwise, we can pretty easily see that to go from C to O, I have to look on a bearing of 90 degrees. So we need to put a 0 in front of that one for our 3 digits. So hopefully that gives you the idea of how we can write a true bearing from any point to another point. We have to drop a north point, move clockwise, and use the information we have in a diagram to work out missing angles. So let's actually see this in action in our second example. We've got two ships leaving a port named O. So let's make a port, call it O, and I'm going to drop in a north point straight away. And ship A is travelling 20 kilometres on a bearing of 50 degrees. So from here I'm going to go clockwise to the right and I'm going to move 50 degrees. And that's going to be where ship A is going to drop anchor. So that's 50 degrees. Okay, now ship B is travelling from the same port and travels 32 kilometres on a bearing of 140. So it's gone past 90 down to 140. So, and then it drops anchor after 32 kilometres. So I'm going to show that that whole bearing there is 140. So what I want to find out first of all is how far apart these two ships are once they drop anchor. So if we just take this situation for example, we've got A and B, and we've got, this is 20 and this one's 32 kilometres. we want to find this distance here, from direct distance from A to B. So we'll call that D. What we really need here is to see what other information we can to work out if we've got any angles that might help us. But what we notice in here is if this whole bearing is 140 degrees and from north point to A is already 50, then we've got a 90-degree angle here, which means that we've just formed a right triangle. I know two sides and want to find the third, so I can use Pythagoras. And that's the hypotenuse of that distance because it's opposite the 90-degree angle. So I'm going to say, well, the distance D between the two ships is going to be the square root of the two shorter sides squared and added together. So using my calculator, I can work that out as 37.7 kilometres to one decimal place. Okay, so I can say that A and B are 37.7 kilometres apart once they finish their travel. So the second thing I want to find out is what is the bearing of ship B, most importantly from ship A. So let's go back to our original diagram that we drew. From ship A means I have to drop a north point down, and I want the bearing moving clockwise to ship B. So I'm just going to drop in my line to ship B. So I want to find this bearing here. I can certainly see it's more than 90 degrees, so I should have a larger value. What I can see from here is I've got two north points which are parallel. So I can see that this is 50 degrees. So over on this side, the co-interior angle here is going to be 130. So I can take that off the whole angle, but what I actually need to find is this angle here. I'm going to call it angle alpha. Now, going back to my diagram here, if I want to find that angle, I can use the two sides I know, the opposite side and the adjacent side. So I'm going to use the tan ratio. So the tan of angle alpha, I'm going to call it, is 32/20. So I'm going to inverse or arctan that fraction or that ratio to find out my angle alpha, which is, I'm going to say it's 58.0 degrees rounded to one decimal place. So bringing that back over to here, I know that this is 58 degrees. So let's find that bearing. So going all the way around, stopping to the line that travels to B, I've got 360 degrees. I can take the 130 degrees off, and I can take the 58 degrees off. This is just one way of finding it. And that's going to leave me with 172 degrees as a bearing. So B is 172 degrees from ship A. So that's just an example of how we can put this use of bearings into practice when we're doing some navigation.